Hi, if you saw my post about the inappropriate filters yesterday, I need you to stop right there. I need to make myself clear on what exactly I meant by this, because it seems like a lot of folks probably didn't read the comments that I left, expanding on what I meant. I'm a women, gender, sexuality studies expert. My dissertation was about sexual ecologies in the algorithmic age. My work specifically builds off of my experience as a millennial that was assigned female at birth and was preyed on by people using tactics very similar to these filters. I have a piece coming out called Requirement Politics that talks at length about this, but this type of shit isn't to be downplayed within the overall landscape that is sexually violent. We know that obviously children that are allowed on this app, children that are 13 or older, because they're still children. I don't really know what people aren't getting about that. Just because they're over the age of 13 and under the age of 18 doesn't mean they're not still a child, don't need to be exposed to this type of material because they can't consent to it. Arguably, even anyone of any age shouldn't be exposed to material like this because they can't consent to it. Because if you'll notice, these filters were designed to not look like what they actually are. That in itself is a form of grooming. This is a tactic luring people into a state that, yeah, if they're adults, isn't that big of a deal, I suppose, but still goes against their consent. As I talk about in all of my content, this is an overall landscape where language builds our worlds. Mind you, we have eugenics and fascism making a return. We have a government landscape reinforcing erasure historically. We have people ignoring the pyramid of hate that shows little things like jokes reinforce an overall landscape that is dehumanizing and discriminatory, leading to genocide. I get it. Y'all may not think that it's a big deal, and maybe it isn't for certain people. That's fine. I don't care. But the fact is that this exists within a sexually violent ecology. This exists within a landscape that doesn't properly sexually educate its citizens. Because comprehensive sex education has been federally blockaded forever, even though it's shown to decrease the amount of violence that goes on when people are properly sexually educated. Who would have guessed? And yes, there's age-appropriate ways to sexually educate people, like teaching them about consent. Millennials and younger should know better than to downplay the seriousness of content like this. The app is responsible and needs to be held responsible to put moderation efforts in place to make sure their filters don't continue to allow things like this. Don't tell me, as someone that lived being preyed on by internet predators, that shit like this isn't a big deal. I've lived the consequences of knowing what that's like. It is a big fucking deal, and we deserve better.